Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kurt Deimer, and you're listening to us on Sonic Perspectives.
Hey man, it's Phil X, and you're listening to Sonic Perspectives.
Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar. You're gonna go far. You're gonna fly high. You're never gonna die. Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar. You're gonna go far. You're gonna fly high. You're never gonna die.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Jonathan with Sonic Perspectives, and I'm here with two legends, one established and one I think established, even though for most people it'll be in the making, Phil X and Kurt Deimer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to each one of you one at a time, and we're just going to break the ice here a little bit. And what I like to do is I like to gush over all my guests, so just be prepared.
All right.
All right. So starting with you, Phil. I've been a pretty good sized fan for a long time. I actually heard the work that you did with Triumph back in the day at the tender age of 12, although I didn't truly know I was a fan until I discovered more of your music through a film, actually. And this is a film that probably almost nobody remembers. This is Hard as Nails by Brian Catkin. It featured the first single from the first Powder album, Up Here.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Were you even aware of that movie? I mean, that came out like a couple of months, excuse me, before the first Powder album.
I don't know if I remember that movie, man.
It was.
Look at you. You're digging deep.
Yeah, well, I don't want to spend too much time on this tangent, but came out in 2001, starred a couple of basically B-listers. For me, it was Larissa McComas, who was a big name model back in the 90s. She was kind of a boyhood crush of mine. And then when I heard the song, I'm like, man, this is awesome. And then about a year and a half later, Evanescence puts out the first single, and I'm like, whoa, cool. This sounds like Powder, but with Bjork on vocals.
You totally nailed it, man.
Yeah. So basically, you're kind of a guitar protege and have been for, you've been at this game for a while. I mean, even before the Triumph album, you were yucking it up a bit on the in the Canadian scene. So could you just give us a little brief background about how you came up?
Well, man, yeah. Well, I mean, like anybody else in Toronto as a kid, I was in cover bands for years, and then I put out an album when I was 18 with a band called Citynex, which is actually my last name backwards. So my last name is Exenides. Band name was Citynex.
Citynex.
and then I played in some other bands, and was always headhunted by other bands looking for the hotshot guitar player. And then we were playing upstairs at the Gasworks, and there was a Canadian band called Frozen Ghost, and Arnold Lanny, who I'm still friends with, he went on to become a producer. He produced Our Lady Peace. He produced Simple Plan. He produced King's X. So he's done some amazing things. And we talk or text every week, and even now. But went on to tour with Aldo Nova in 1990, and then we knew it was over when the grunge thing happened. But I think the grunge thing needed to happen, so I didn't complain, and just moved on, man. And then it was Triumph, and then back to my own bands, and in '97 moved to LA, which probably changed my life and part of who I became. So I'm pretty happy with all that.
Excellent. Yeah. And as a further side note, you've done a fair amount of work behind the scenes with movie soundtracks and with other artists. I think I saw Rob Zombie's name in there a couple of times.
Rob Zombie. That was a really amazing point in my life, because it was like true Hollywood story, painting a producer's garage, who was producing Tommy Lee's first solo record, Methods of Mayhem, and they needed a guitar player. So I went from painting to playing guitar, and then it was Rob Zombie that came in for his record, and I played on that. And then Rob Zombie says, "Hey, did Alice call you yet?" And I'm like, "Alice who?" He goes, "Alice Cooper. I gave him your number last week." So that was, I'm like, right, Alice Cooper's gonna call me, right? Because I was a huge fan when I was a kid. But then it wasn't Rob, it wasn't Alice that called, but Bob Marlette, who produced Brutal Planet, called me and said, "Hey, I need you to play on this record." So, and then it just kept going, kept doing sessions, and it went from that to everything from Avril Lavigne to Daughtry to Chris Cornell and anything in between. It was pretty amazing.
That's awesome. So now, switching gears, we're going to go to the front man behind this this operation here, Kurt Deimer. Now, unfortunately, I don't have as much background on you other than the fact that I recognized you when I first got the promo for this album from the 2018 Halloween movie. You were the guy who I thought was going to be Michael Myers because of that voice.
Oh, because no, Michael doesn't talk.
Yeah, I know, but if he
did,
I'd picture him talking kind of like that, that real heavy bassy voice, is that a 6.5 on the Richter scale, or did he get a hold of a subwoofer type voice there?
I don't know, man.
Wait a minute. Is that what that subwoofer's doing in your pocket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I did hang out with Michael Myers in the gas station, that he killed me in. We hung out and I drank a Coke through a straw through my little prosthetic, and we got to talk about our cats, and he's a sweet man.
James, they didn't include that in the behind the scenes with the straw there, huh?
Oh yeah, no, they made me walk around the set because we were out at a real gas station out somewhere in South Carolina. And I had to walk around with a huge blanket over me because my face was just like totally heavy and contorted before I laid it down. And then when I laid down on that counter, I had to probably stay there like 3-4 hours like that in that position. And they were taking photo after photo, and it was one of their signature scenes. And then they were going to put a dummy in the body bag. And I said, "Why? You spent 3 hours putting this, this is only my second movie." I go, "I'll get on the gurney, I'll get in the body bag, zip me up." And that's David Gordon Green. He said, "Yeah, you're willing to do it, let's do it." I go, "Yeah, why not, man? Thank you for having me in Halloween."
Yeah, right.
Hey, the great ones always suffer for the art, right?
Yeah, as long as I told him just keep my legs from getting too numb, because my legs were getting numb from laying like this on the counter, and they kept me comfortable, and we did the job, man.
Absolutely. Now, from what I've heard, because I actually went around and I watched some other interviews you guys did, you do have a background in music. Just there's probably not a lot of recorded stuff out there by you prior to the late 2010s, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, no, we didn't, back in the day when I was in a band before I stopped doing music in the late, mid to late 80s, we had guys come in and record on cassette tapes. I might have 1 or 2 cassette tapes, from our rehearsal sessions, but oh, wow. I left music back then because I needed to find my way in life, and it was just the right time to pivot to the family life and get my act together. And I just said, if I can do this again one day, I'll do it if the timing's right. And then once I got into Halloween, and I was in Trading Paint before that with John Travolta and Shania Twain, and I got that role, and I'm like, this might be the time to get back into this and let my other stuff that I've started, my oil companies, run themselves. And because it's a battle, man. It's been a real battle to get to today where I'm talking to you when you don't know the industry. Oil industry, I know it all. I know more than a lot of people in it, but this is a whole new animal. And but I'm so happy. I'm so not stressed anymore, and I get to get everything out of my brain now and be who I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Absolutely, and that kind of dovetails nicely into the first question I have for you about the new, I guess you could say, newish EP here, Work Hard, Rock Hard. When it comes to lyrics and songwriting, you don't do the edited for TV thing. You basically tell it how it is, right?
Yeah, I write pretty literal, but Phil and I are getting to a point now where he can take my literal thoughts, because I can write a lot, like it could just flow. And then he has this crafty technique because he's been doing music for forever, his whole life. and we've really got a good thing going with that. And yeah, pretty much naive, that album. I'm getting stuff off my brain, that instead of going to a therapist, I'm sharing it with people, and hopefully it touches them in a way that they can apply it to their life. And I like to be positive. I'm all about being kind. And even though I may cuss in a song, we all cuss if we're angry. So why not put it out like that? We can always do a clean version, we have. So yeah, we like to present it just the way it comes out, and make it catchy and hooky for our fan base.
Absolutely. And this is a really eclectic set of songs here. I'm picking up on a lot of different influences, and starting first with Naive, which is kind of tied for first with my favorite song on the album, along with Ease It In, which is maybe a little suggestive title, but but anyway, yeah, Naive, I was picking up, and I wanted to pivot over to Phil for this one. The primary riff has got a nice modern rock edge, but I noticed that when you switch to the verse and you put the palm muting in there, I'm getting a little bit of early 90s White Zombie vibe there. Maybe a little bit of something off of Sexorista, Devil Music Volume 1, maybe. I don't know. Just a little bit of a similar groove going on there. So just kind of expound a little bit on the riff writing process for that album, because you got me curious.
I'm not even really familiar with that Zombie record. I just felt like I love chugging. And I love, you could chug like the Cars, or you can chug like Dr. Feelgood. And there's like everything in between, right? But I feel like, and we were talking about this earlier, I feel like it's like I just have a tap, like a faucet over here of riffs. And Kurt just sends me a lyric, and I look at the lyric, and I'm like, And I turn the tap on, and all these riffs come out. And then it's like, that song, Naive, I gotta say, it kind of wrote itself. I knew I had a riff in my head, I had the idea, and then I knew when he wrote Money Hungry Motherfuckers, I was like, I know there's a cuss in there, but I think that's the chorus.
Well, you could change it to Mother Humpers, do a little Kevin Bacon Tremors trick. I guess that's technically not profanity.
No, you're right. But it all came together, and then it just became like a thumbprint of how we started working together. And then I just it took everything to another level. And I feel like if he sends me stuff and I do stuff and it becomes something, if it's not to that level, I don't even submit it, because we're both anti-filler guys. We want every song to be something that someone can connect to. If it's not lyrically, it's musically. We just wanted to, we don't want to have like, well, this was just a throwdown tune, so let's throw on the throw-on tune. And that's not how we work. So, and it's been amazing having Chris Lord-Alge as the third of our creative process, because he takes it to somewhere I didn't expect it to go, and makes it sound like it's on the radio in one foul swoop. So it's, I feel blessed to be in a situation like this, because we all have different brains, but we're all on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there's the amount of moving parts that have been injected into these songs, even though they're relatively short in length, definitely speaks to somebody that's not messing around with filler on here. And especially the guitar solo on Naive. I think you knocked it out of the park with that one.
Thanks, man.
Any particular guitarist that you were maybe kind of had in the back of your head when you were throwing that one together? Or
maybe you heard this guy. His name is Phil X.
Oh, yeah. He's the go-to guy. Trust me.
You know what it is? This is kind of like a dream project, in that I approached a solo, and in my career as a guitar player, I just cataloged all these philisms as far as licks go. You could hear influences always. Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Uli John Roth. There's so many. Where I got my palette from when I was growing up, and just start coming up with licks, and then I would just catalog all this stuff. So when I come up with solos for the Kurt Deimer vibe, I gotta make sure there's some fill in there. And that's basically what I do. And I mean, I do that with the drills too. Like I just posted a video from the drill song, I wish my beer was as cold as your heart. And that's when I first started laying out, okay, you got to start putting yourself into these solos. That was one of those solos that went there. And then when I did the first song that we did together with Kurt was Have a Cigar. And I just, even though I had just laid it down, I subconsciously was thinking, okay, David Gilmour did his thing. And there was an intended emotion is what I call it. Mm-hmm. So if I can stick to the intended emotion of that solo that David Gilmour put down, but I can put Phil X in there, that makes me happy. So, and that's what I ended up doing. And I didn't even think you got to put Phil X in it. I was just playing how I play. And Chris was like, holy shit. And he played it for Kurt and Kurt went, holy shit. And I was like, I guess I'm onto something.
Absolutely. And you can kind of hear one fading into the other as you go along in terms of style. It starts off really expressive and then it gets a little flashier. But anyway, moving from the music to the lyrics and the message behind Naive. So I'm pivoting back to you, Kurt. So it sounds like you're calling somebody out on this song. So did you want to get into that and also into the any other points in that particular song?
Well, Naive is a tale of my path to LA. People who saw me as a target because, oh, really, you're going to be a band. I don't know how many times you know how hard it is to make it in music. Well, yeah, I know how hard it is to make it in music. You got to get lucky, but you got to work hard. And along the way, you meet a lot of characters. I won't name any names, but I had to deal with characters that enjoyed collecting a check, but didn't know what they were, just kind of duped me, told me they could do things they couldn't do. But each character along the way, though, led me to meeting a higher quality individual. And then I would notice, like my one manager who I met Chris Lord-Alge through, felt very threatened that Chris Lord-Alge and I were becoming friends. And I started to realize, okay, because I'm getting taken advantage of. And I've had that happen. Even my movie that's coming out this year, it wasn't shot right. They thought, we'll shoot it. It's my movie. I produced it. I'm the lead crazy ass character. I created a new horror character, but I got taken advantage of on the set of that movie because I didn't know all that. I knew how to go in and act and put everything into my character, and I trusted everybody. So it's about having trust in people, being disappointed. And I had to get it off my chest. And Phil said, man, you were a little angry on that. Cause I had a month there where I was writing some angry songs, but that happened to be the one that made it, that we grasped and took off with. So yeah, it's getting that anger out. It's that therapy. It's talking to a therapist, but I'm talking to you and you dig the tune. So it's good. Instead of me just sitting in a room with somebody and that goes nowhere for me. I want to share it. Maybe somebody else can learn a lesson from the song to watch.
That's the beauty of music, like music makes you really, reflect. Music makes you time travel.
Yeah.
And that's why I make music. And when I met Kurt, I realized that's why he wants to make music. And I just think it's an incredible vehicle to help people get through stuff,
Yeah. And Jonathan, you mentioned Ease It In as one of your other favorites. Well, that song, somebody bet me I couldn't write a song in 10 minutes. So
I didn't even know that, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, here it is. It's Ease It In. But Ease It In, yeah, it could give you a wrong connotation. And we kind of skim the border of that connotation. But really, it's about, in any relationship you have, take it easy. You don't have to be a bully. You don't have to rush into things. And it can apply to anything in life. You got to ease it in, I mean, have you ever gone to the bathroom and there's no toilet paper?
Oh.
And you got to you might panic. No, empty toilet paper roll, make it work. Ease it. You just take it easy, man. Not everything has to be a chaotic crisis. So
where's the
that's the whole thing. Everything's interpreted, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, my inner Tipper Gore says one thing, but my sensible side says something else. So
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, everybody, like I've written many lyrics in my life where somebody came up and said, "What did you mean by that?" And I'm like, "What did you think I meant by that?" And then they tell me,
Yeah.
and it wasn't what I had in mind, but that's cool. I'm gonna make a note of that. It's kind of like, that's why I love interpretives. A lot of people write lyrics and there's a lot of, say what you mean. And there's no reading between the lines. There's no interpretation. It's just, this is what I'm saying. And then Kurt has this way of saying it like I like to say stuff, which is, don't make it black and white, man. Just make it like, so you say something and it can be interpreted in 3 or 4 different ways. And I kind of dig that too.
Yeah.
yeah, man. So ease it in. I noticed on the intro we got a really low tone distorted instrument. Is that a down tuned guitar or is that a distorted bass at the beginning? I couldn't quite tell. Once the song kicked in, it sounded like the bass wasn't distorted anymore. So I'm thinking down tuned guitar, but
No, it's probably distorted bass.
Okay, gotcha. That's what it sounded like.
Wait. You know what though? I'm gonna have to listen to it because I don't make notes because I'm an idiot. But that might have been my 8-string Hagstrom bass.
Okay, that would make a lot of sense because it sounded kind of atypical for a bass. It gave it kind of almost like a 90s alternative feel. And then once you hit that chorus, I'm like, all right, man, this sounds a little like AC/DC, but we got Hard Rock's answer to Barry White doing the vocals here, which is ultra cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that song, man, Phil did the same thing. I wrote it in 10 minutes and that was it. And then Phil, one day out of the blue, just says, "Oh, I took that ease it in lyric in here. Listen to what like that song came like that to both of us." So he just had a vibe one day, and that's what it was.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, so getting to some of the other material on here, just real quick, since everybody and their uncle has probably heard the Have a Cigar cover, and I wanted to get into your vocal interpretation of that song, because I remember Dave Gilmour kind of straining to get an octave above where you were when he sang that song. It had like a real loud bellowing sound, but you got more like a cool swagger to your version, almost like you're the actual corporate guy handing the cigar rather than Dave Gilmour's interpretation of the guy who's got kind of like this kind of sinister but sort of overtone, but with that really loud, boisterous voice. So.
Yeah, and I want to honor David Gilmour. I don't want to be David Gilmour. I want to honor his art that he created there. And when Phil and I and Chris do covers, we do it our way, because I can't sing like David Gilmour. I can't play guitar like David Gilmour. He's one of the greats. And to do my own interpretation of and Chris's, to give Chris Lord Alge a lot of credit. He laid it out, and he's the one who brought Phil on it to play the lead guitar. I didn't even know Phil was going to be doing it. He let us all do it. It's kind of like we are with everything now. He brought us all together with our own styles, and I'm not going to try to be David Gilmour, nor I'm just trying to honor him and bring out one of their songs. That meant a lot to me at the time because I'm building a band. I'm coming together as a team. It was very apropos at the time. And without that song, we wouldn't all be together. So,
well, man, down to every note, though, down to everything. Like Chris said, who should play drums on this? And I said, you got to get Brian Tishy, who's a pal.
Yeah.
And when he said, hey, I got the drums back from Brian Tishy, and I dropped the needle, it was like, oh, okay, I was right. This guy's amazing.
Nice. All right, and then we gotta do Justice the Holy Peace. So we're gonna hit another one that I really liked, which is Back of the School.
That was our first. That was our first.
First one we wrote together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're the same age. So we're the same age. So we remember you're dead at recess. We remember he sent me that, and I go, oh yeah, I totally get it. And then it's kind of like an address to, everybody's like being mean to each other and picking fights with a keyboard. And there's no putting yourself into an actual dangerous situation. When you were in school and you picked a fight, you were in a fight.
Yeah.
It's changed so much. And it's like people they have all this courage behind a computer. And would you have that same, courage if you were in this person's face? I don't think so.
No.
But in school, you didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as he sent me that lyric, I'm like, I know how this goes right now. And I picked up my guitar and I laid down the track.
Yeah, that's the first one we did together, and I just get so upset at people that are so mean to others on the internet. It's very unfortunate situation we're going through as a society, and it's very, it hurts people, and people need to take other people's feelings more seriously. And if you don't like something, move on. You don't have to say something.
Yeah. The whole if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. That totally went out the window. But we all grew up like that,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was still like that when I was in school. I think it was just after I graduated that nonsense started. And then when I was in college, that's when Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back came out, and they came up with the original solution for it, which sadly would land you in jail today, which is track the people down and beat them senseless.
Man, I love that. I so love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great song. That intro riff is sick. It's just got that awesome bluesy swagger to it. And you can tell there's some angst behind that riff that fits perfectly with the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love angst. I love angsty guitar parts. And I just, it totally goes well with the vocal and the lyric. And that's what we're about, man. We really want to speak and tell the stories we want to tell.
Yeah. And hopefully people take away from Back of the School, it's badass rock song, but hopefully you take away, maybe I should be nicer to people, there's always a way to interpret everything we do. And we opened up our last tour with Back of the School. We had our opening, and that's the song we went right into when we were with Jeff Tate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Jeff Tate, we got a song on here that he appears on, kind of maybe a similar subject matter to that one too. I picked up some hints of, internet's doing something to society, not the same as like getting into a fight with somebody, but just more the general tone and tenor of society. I think you and Jeff were probably picking up on something that's been a bit of an issue here for the past decade or two, right?
Yeah, well, I wrote that song. Jeff just came in to sing on it. I had written that song even before I met Phil. And that song is about the demise of the family unit. Like, I grew up in a family, we'd have dinner at night. You check in with mom and dad. And as the family unit decayed, and people have nannies now all the time, or the kids are off doing whatever, the family unit doesn't get together anymore, and how that can impact other things in life and make other things in life corrode. That was my interpretation of what I wanted to convey in those lyrics. And just hit on some of those kind of subjects, how when the family unit isn't together as one, we're all kind of burning together in this world, So
absolutely. And the music, I think, kind of reflects that more somber tone. And I guess that's where Phil came in. Did you come up with that set of chord progressions that kind of tied everything together there, or was that?
Actually, that was
all Chris and Phil.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But it was the piano part was, I don't even know who it was.
Yeah. Oh, the piano part came from my old writer Ben.
Yeah.
But then I wasn't going to put Outburn together. I didn't like our version I did with Ben at all. In fact, I listened to it on my way back to Ohio from here once, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to do that one. But then when Chris took it over, and then they got Phil to do what Phil did,
I just,
it turned into our big first single that we put out on the radio. Yeah,
there was a thing that spoke to me about it, and it was just, and that's the thing with Chris. He sent me a session, and he goes, "Don't listen to the guitars, just do your thing." And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So it was always gave me a clean slate, which is amazing, because then I could hear the song, I could hear what the melody was doing, I could hear what the piano was doing, and I go, okay, I know where this needs to go. So, and that was in the early batch too, right? Like right after Cigar, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty early. And the last verse in that song, I was in the studio. Chris said, I need another verse right here. And I'm already at the mic in the studio. He gave me like 2 or 3 minutes, and that's how that last verse came up about the no family dinner tonight, nanny instead with camera on her tight. And it's pretty amazing what we do together. He'll often just say something right here when I'm recording. And Phil knows, and I don't rehearse it or anything. It's just comes out of my brain. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it definitely turned into a fine song. And speaking as
Thank you.
somebody who's been in and out of a couple of bands, sometimes the ones that you think might be a dud turn out to be one of your best.
Right.
Yeah. All right, that's excellent. So shifting gears a little bit, we got a little tour coming up here, I think towards the end of April, with a certain maestro of the six string one, Yngwie Malmsteen. What can you guys tell me about what we got in store on that?
Well, yeah, we're heading out. We're direct support for Yngwie, and I think our first show is the 29th of April up in Harrisburg, and we'll be running through at least June 5th right now. And yeah, we're very lucky to have a spot to do direct support. We're going to bring it our way, and we're going to honor him and being kind enough to let us be direct support. And there'll be a couple bands before us, so we'll always be on about 8:30 or 9, which is perfect.
Awesome. I think Joel's got some, I hope he has some tickets lined up for me, because that's about a little less than an hour from where I'm at. So
Yeah, no, we'd love to have you, man. We'd love to have you out. Just make sure you hit us up and let us know.
yeah, absolutely. Because yeah, I can do a concert review, pump up some more numbers for you. Although you guys are doing pretty well, okay, based on what I'm seeing on Spotify, up to 23,000 followers. That's pretty good for just an EP under your belt for a few months.
Yeah, and I think it was as high as 100 at one point. So we're working on getting more promo and everything. And yeah, Apple's doing well. You can stream our music on anything. You can even get a hard copy of the CD of the EP, Work Hard, Rock Hard, or have a cigar of the single CD on our website. And my website's kurtdeimer.com. So it's real easy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Phil, you got any thoughts about the original Wizard of Neoclassical guitar playing and opening up for him?
Dude, man, I'm gonna throw my age in the pool again. And I remember when the first Alcatraz record came out, and I was blown away. I thought, how is it possible for anyone to play like this? And it's just incredible. So I'm really excited about checking it out too. Like do a set and then see a couple of shows, and then. But I think for us, I keep joking that I'm gonna have to play more notes.
I've always wanted to interview Yngwie because I wanted to ask him, has anybody ever come up to you and done that Amadeus quote, too many notes, Malmsteen? I don't think there's too many, but apparently there's some other characters running around who do.
Right.
But yeah, I just imagine what it would have been like to have actually seen Alcatraz live back then, because my first album with Yngwie on it was The Seventh Sign, which was back in '94 when he was kind of foundering in America, but he was huge over in Japan. So I paid the import cost to get that sucker in here. And then from there, I worked my way backwards.
Dude, I even saw him open for Triumph, I think. And that might have been 88 or 89.
That would have been the Odyssey tour, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, man. That's funny though. What a memory.
Yeah, I was only 3 years old when Alcatraz put out their first album, so sadly I missed that boat.
Yeah, such a game changer,
Oh yeah, in every way.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the EP out. I'm assuming we got more music coming here because you guys are definitely a good team here.
Well, thanks, man. We appreciate that. But yeah, we haven't stopped. We just, Kurt still sends me lyrics. I still come up, I turn the tap on, and we just put it all together, and Chris just makes it incredible. So it's we're constantly bringing up new stuff that's going to come out, and that's exciting.
Nice. Is it going to be another EP? Or are you going to try to go for an LP, or what's the plan?
What's your opinion on that?
Well, honestly, I mean, just my read on the way the market is right now, the pop scene is obsessed with doing singles just like they were back in the 50s. But I think rock, your average rock fan still wants to hear something longer. So I think either an EP or an LP works. I mean, you got plenty of people who remember how Alice in Chains reclaimed the EP as an art form back in the 90s with both Savage, Flies. And then you also had some amazing LPs even during the 90s and on into today. So, I mean, digital medium or hard copy, I think people want to hear a story with 10 or 12 chapters.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, we keep asking because management's led us the EP route, and in my brain, the jury's still out on it. So we'll see. But we've got some great tunes coming. We got a single I think that'll be coming out soon. But stay tuned because we just keep getting better and better as we write together, and we're very proud of what we have coming out later this year. So.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. So I guess we're going to have to close this out here soon because I still got the basic plan on Zoom and they're going to cut me off in about 3 minutes here. So any final words for the fans here before we bid each other adieu?
Well, Jonathan, I just want to thank you for having us. Thank you to all your fans for, listening to us and believing in what we're doing. And we can't wait to meet all of you on the road, and check out Work Hard, Rock Hard, kurtdeimer.com. You can stream it anywhere. Follow me on any social media. Phil and I are very much we're in tune with our fans, and we communicate and we appreciate them and don't take them for granted. So thank you very much for having me on here along with Phil.
Thank you, Jonathan, and come and see us live.
Absolutely.
It's
First
a whole
chance I get.
It's a whole different experience, man. It's really awesome.
All right, great. Well, this has been Sonic Perspectives. I'm Jonathan here with Phil X and Kurt Deimer. Catch them on the road, buy the album, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, bro.
Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar. You're gonna go far. You're gonna fly high. You're never gonna die. Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar. You're gonna go far. You're gonna fly high. You're never gonna die. You're gonna make it if you try. They're gonna love you. Yeah. I've always had a deep respect, and I mean that most sincere.